today I am using these Faber-Castell Goldfaber Aqua watercolor pencils. I've never used them before. I've never used any watercolor pencil before, so this is new to me. It'll be interesting. I have an idea of how I want to try to use them. I kind of want to lay the color first, wet it down, spread it out, treat it like watercolor, and then come back in and use it for some detailed stuff. We'll see how it works out. Of course, that means I have to be patient, let it dry. Now I'm going to try it on two things. I might try it regularly, so to speak, with like no water here, and then use the water on this water, because this is watercolor paper. This is watercolor that I cut into card size. So these are about the same size. And the reason is I don't think that this is going to handle water very well. And let me just, I've shown this to you before, but if you've never seen this before, I'll show you just how thin these actually are. In case you're curious, these are really floppy. They're very thin. I mean, they're considerably thicker than most paper, but for water likes to buckle. This is the proper watercolor. You can see this doesn't wobble like this does. This wobbles. This does not. These are considerably different in size. This is probably two of these stacked together in terms of thickness. So I'm going to try a colored pencil on both of them. I have my sable liners. This is a small, medium, and large sable liner. And I have my watercolor brush. And I have a parrot in front of me. It's one I haven't done before. I decided to pull up unsplash.com because there's a lot of free to use under the Unsplash license. It's just like photos that people upload that people are free to use to copy or download or whatever. And I just figured it's the safest copyright thing to do. That said, this is a simple, well, I say simple. It's similar in terms of color selection. It is a yellow and blue parrot. He has a little bit of green, some black and white. From the angle that I see him at, I'm going to try to draw him like that and not indulge too much so I can get a feel for how these are going to work. Now, normally I don't draw the same thing twice, but I might do that just so that I can compare the two techniques and things. And these are the colors that are in here. It has the numbers on them, which is nice in case you have to order more. Of course, the numbers are on the pencils as well. And it doesn't actually tell you what colors they are on the box, but on the, let's check the pencil. Does it have a number there? Yes. I mean, does it have a color? These are just numbered. They just say black. I'm sorry. They just say $1.99 for black, so on and so forth. So yeah, they're numbered, but they don't actually have a color on them. So that's fine for me, but you know, just buyer beware kind of a thing. Now, I love Faber-Castell's Polychromos. I didn't love the black editions so far. They're okay, but I wouldn't tell you to go out and buy them, to be honest. That's just my take on it. You do what you want, but that is just my 2 cents. Let's begin. So he's mostly blue, so I'm actually going to try and see. Actually, you know what? I already have this card, so I'm going to use this. Let's just see what this looks like. Here's the blue, and here's the other blue. Oh, that's really pretty. That's actually closer to the blue he is here. This is almost like an ultraviolet blue. So I guess maybe sky blue, cerulean blue, however you want to, depending on your sky in your area. Some people's skies look like this in the mountains. Depends on where you're at in the country or in the world, I guess. I am going to just go ahead and swatch these just so I have an idea what they look like. This is a card I already used, so I figured, you know what, that green's really, really pretty. Sort of like a, I guess like an emerald, sort of a brown. Orange is really bright. They're nice and vibrant from what I can tell. Very heavily, I'd hope so, heavy pigment load because they are watercolor pencils. So I think I only paid, the yellow is very light, not in a bad way. Yeah, the white's on there. It's really hard to see. I think you can see it in the camera. The yellow is super faint. So this will be interesting for tinting. Let us get started, shall we? I'm going to try to go through this quickly, as quickly as I can, but I also want to make something that's at least somewhat decent to look at. So I have this as a reference if I need it, and so I know what I'm getting into before I start. I'm not super picky. Like, I don't usually stare at the colors and like, well, exactly what color is it? I just want to have an idea of what they look like before I pick them up and lay them down. I'm not too surprised. I like to save jars. Like, this is an old paste jar that we have. I like to save them for things like this, acrylics or oils and things. With oils, what I'll do is I'll wash the brushes. There will be pigment at the bottom. You let it set for a couple of weeks, and whatever Gam salt or mineral spirits is left, you can pour it out by filtering it. You can either use a cheesecloth or you can just be careful. All right, I'm going to do my best to draw the same bird. I'm going to go maybe here for his beak. These are nice and soft, but they're not quite. They handle a little differently on the vellum. All right, we're going to use that as a reference. I'm going to try to do the same thing for this one. Okay, so this is the watercolor. This is the vellum. This is Bristol Vellum Smooth. I'm going to try to treat it like regular color pencil on this side. Well, they're not perfect mirrors of each other, but that's okay. This texture is wanting to drag the pencil more, and so it's a little harder to get free flowing. Not meant for color pencil, obviously. And so then just need to do the top of his head. This is green mostly, and then blue comes down to here. I'm just doing his little top of his head, I guess. Don't know what else to call it. It's almost like he's got a hairstyle. His little eyeball is in here. That's more or less right. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm not trying to rush, but I'm also trying to keep myself moving. His eye's a little bit more forward than this, and I don't really have any way to erase. That's okay. We'll just run with it. Let's see here. I have him kind of, it's close enough, I guess. That's how I could do. Just doing this as a reference to myself. Okay, so this is a little bit less forgiving than this is, if that's not obvious. Like I said, I want to see if I can get the color to wash here on this side, and then I'm going to try to draw it on this side. So let me just lay some of this color here. I have no idea how this is going to behave. Hopefully it'll come out okay. What's this in here? This is black, but we'll get there. Right in here. All right, I'm going to do this one first. I'll set this to the side for now and see if I can keep this on par with what I'm doing. And let's see. I'm just going to lay the color down first. As I said, I'm just trying to lay the color out. I imagine this would be really cool with watercolor too. So if you just want to add like some detail, this would be really fun to add because then you can blend it out if you want to. I didn't really have a reason to buy these at first, but now that everybody I see is doing watercolor, now I'm like, I want to try. All right, let's try yellow. And I'm just laying this color in here. I'm just curious to see. I'm really kind of curious what's going to happen with the, oh yeah, there's quite a bit of pigment there. With the water, once I actually put it on there, I'm curious what it's going to do. I don't know if it's going to make it a little more vibrant and then dry up the same way, or I'm not entirely certain what to expect. The green, this is not apparent. This is what I like to do. I like to do like the base color first, then I come back in and add more detail. So this is a different process. I'm trying to color pencil, but also thinking about how it's going to paint in. We'll see what happens. Right, here's the real test. Let's see this black. It's nicely pigmented black. He just has like a lot of, see, I put him back too far. That's okay though. Anticipating where the shading needs to go, so I'm hoping this won't muddy it up too much. All right, well, I'm gonna put the color in there and then we'll figure out. I think I put enough color down. Let me see. I'm trying to go a little harder without burnishing completely into the paper because then it'd be hard to move around. So we'll see what happens. These definitely feel different than regular color pencils do. So that's kind of interesting. And I guess I kind of expected that, but it's different when you're actually drawing with them. It isn't quite right. I just want to see where this goes. All right, I'm going to try the water now. Hopefully I'm on camera enough. Hopefully you can see this okay. Try this water and maybe. If I have the Sumi E brushes, I think I'm going to try the large one. And it took me a while to figure this out on these, by the way, but these are written this way, and this is the small, medium, large based on this. Anyway, just so you know, see what it does. Kind of cool, actually. Kind of what I anticipated, but I feel like it's going to dry darker because watercolor, you know, it magnifies what you're looking at. I don't know what these are based in. Like, I don't know if they're wax or what exactly they use. Maybe oil, well, water soluble something. So, like I said, initially, I just want to push this color around, and I want to see if I can do anything to add to it. A little heavy on the green here. It's lifting the pigment quite a bit. I probably used too much water. It's okay. It's all in good fun. I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I can see the pigment lifting, but oh no, lost the hair. It's cool though. It lightens it really nicely. Try a little bit. Okay, so far less water. It does a lot better job. I'm using these instead of my watercolor brush because my watercolor brush is really big. It's a 10, and I got it for, I mentioned this before, but I got it for Inktober for large ink washes, and it's a little bit too big for these cards. That doesn't look too bad so far. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry for a second and make sure that this is completely dried up, and then I'll try to add detail on top because I'm curious how it's going to do. I'm trying to do two of these at once, so now I'm going to go straight ahead, and you're supposed to be able to use these as regular pencils as well. So let's just treat this as a regular drawing. His beak comes way back. I'm just kind of cutting him in a bit. There's a little thingamajigger. I don't even know what to call that. It's like the side of his face comes like that. This is more of an illustration in this case. It's just sort of just kind of going for a basic idea of what he looks like, and then hoping for the best. And sort of like black feathering in here, right? And then you get this whiteness up here. I don't really give him quite enough whiteness there, but that's, as a colored pencil, they're okay. I mean, I know that's not what they're exactly meant for, so I'm not trying to judge them that hard. They're just not as, I don't know, they drag quite a bit, so it does make sense that they're watercolor pencils. Like, it'd be good to push the pigment around to really get that look. Even a slightly wet, like, look at the difference in my opinion. Look at how more, this looks more painterly, and obviously I didn't quite do his beak the right way either. Okay, so I mean, this looks really cool, I think. Has some interesting look to it, and it's not done, but, you know, just comparing it directly, I think it's quite a bit different looking. If I try to, I'm just trying to texture up some of this feathering. I'm not going to do all these feathers because it's a mess. This photo is incredibly detailed. I'm just doing this quickly so that I can really, just so I can test these, you know, see how they are, see if I like them. And I'm wondering too, I mean, are they going to hold their shape when I start adding color and painting on top of them? Is my question. So, I mean, you know, if I were to do this, right, and then I blend this color out with a water brush, is it going to still show those individual pencil strokes? That is a question that I have. Let's just throw on some feathering in here. Kind of. They're not as intensely blue as they kind of look at first, but I don't know. There we go. I need something darker over here. Leave some of that lightness in there, but just kind of blend it over. And again, they're watercolor pencils, so I should be able to blend them out, but I don't know how well they're going to blend while also keeping these pencil lines. And if that's the case, one of the easiest things to do is just to use ink that is water resistant, but you can still do your color first, then come back and hit it on top if you so choose. Oh yeah, I gotta color him up. Oh, yellow. Mellow yellow. Some yellow in here. Just kind of digging in a little bit here because I'm trying to get this color down. Let's see, can we do it? Can we do it? They're not quite the same bird. You know them looking at the same ribbon? That's just what happens sometimes. Yeah, let's just do this. He looks kind of mad. I didn't mean to do that. Whoops. That's fine. He's just got some stuff on her. And then I'm just going to darken him up a little, and then I'll throw the color in there. There is some green right about here. Those little feathers stick up like he's got hair. A little bit yellow from the light up here. I'm going to have this other green. I'll use this other green too, just to push some of this color across. All right. If this isn't obvious, I'm kind of haphazard when I draw. So I'm pretty pragmatic when it comes to other stuff. But when it comes to drawing, I'm kind of messy. What I mean is I kind of put my pencils over here and over there. Two in my hand. They're kind of everywhere. So I'm going to do this one a little differently. Going for a little blue. I don't know why he's so mad looking. I don't know what I did to him. He's mad because I'm messing him up. But this blue should dig in a little bit. Then I can just throw in. I'm not trying to burnish really hard, but I do want to get some of that in there. So I can maybe throw in some black on top. Cool thing about these too, I think, is that if you do put too much in one color, you can kind of blend it out, lift it, and move it around. There's a bit of... Can't really describe that very well, but there's whiteness in here. But I'll just do this, where he holds some of that color. There we go. And it's not photo perfect. I'm not trying to make it photo perfect. I was just trying to see how these will behave one to the other. This is using it as a traditional colored pencil kind of thing. I can still see what I'm doing. I ain't really paying attention, am I? So before I do anything else to him, I will do, actually, no. It's a lot. A couple more things I want to do. A little bit of coloring for some of the shading of his feathering in here. Kind of brownish blue, grayish tones in here somewhere. Just kind of throwing it around. I'm thinking I might try to use the water on this vellum because I'm curious to see how it'll handle it. Now I can throw the detail on here. This guy, I can try throwing the blue back on here, the yellow on top of what's here, and then the brown, and see how it handles. The thing that's really cool about these, though, they do kind of remind me like of the Caran d'Ache, where you can lay down color on top of color because it is water miscible. So you can, it's dissolvable in water and it pushes it around, at least enough that it pushes it around so that you can get some really cool effects. Like you can get that, it does look like painterly or watercolor effect, but you can get really nice saturation and blending of colors because you can use water. I'm trying to see if I can maybe make this look more like painting than a colored pencil. Now this looks terrible because I drew it like crap, but that's not the point. I just wanted to see how it'll behave, so forgive me for it looking so terrible. My apologies. If I wanted to, I really can sit here and do all these feathers, but there are so many. It would take me a lifetime to really do these. And I'm not trying to do that anymore. I'm trying to spend all day painting feathers. Just want to get it kind of close to do him some sort of justice. This can be blackened up a little bit, maybe. Again, I'm curious to see if this is going to hold this line, or if the line is just going to completely disappear, or if it'll hold it because it's kind of burnished into the paper. Don't know. Going to find out. Yeah, get some depth in there maybe. But it is pretty forgiving. I do like that because now if you wanted to, you could lay down the color and then it's kind of limitless in that sense, I guess, until the tooth falls apart. But so if you wanted to stop here, you can. And not that that's the most beautiful drawing or anything, but you could stop there, or you can continue to push this around like I'm going to, because I'm curious how far I can push it. Curious like a cat. You either get that reference or you don't. Yeah, it's doing what I thought. It's going to push the lines around, but it's okay. It's very dry right now. I didn't put a lot of water on here. Oh, that's nice though. So that's kind of cool though, because some of the lines will stay and then some will push around. So you can get this color to balance out a little more, lift up a little bit, give you more of that painterly effect. And you can come back in and darken them up. It's kind of cool. I mean, more me than the stuff. But see, it's getting kind of cool. It's getting kind of like interesting little textures going on. You can kind of tell, get closer. You can see like how this is still holding some of the lines, but it's also got that painterly kind of watercolor effect, which is really cool, which I guess is the point, depending on how much water you want to use. Try not to skip off this little tiny canvas, but can really help that. Okay, so pushing it around, stacking it up if you're patient. Now, since this looks like absolute dog turds over here, I'm going to go ahead and just blend this on this vellum to see what it does. Start with the darker one first. The vellum is good for ink anyway, so I'm not too worried about it buckling, but it's quite a a bit darker than I intended. Trying to be careful between the lines and see if I can keep some of that stuff in there. Thing is, I don't know what this is made of. So like what the base of the medium is. I mean, for the pencil, I don't know what its binder is. It's kind of hard to know how it's going to behave after you do a lot of layers. Like, I mean, if it's wax or if it's oil or maybe some kind of water miscible thing. I doubt it's oil because it's water miscible, but it could be. I mean, not that oil is miscible in water, but I'm saying a small amount of it can still be pushed around anyway, oil-based or wax-based or not. Yeah, these are interesting. Okay, so, oh, you know, I lied. This is not a vellum card. This is the ATC card. I'm sorry, I was thinking it was this. It's not vellum. That's the ATC, and that's holding the water far better than I intended it, far better than I expected it to. I mean, let's see if I can throw some of this black in here. No, this is probably dried enough. I'm just trying to see if I can put some more shade back in here. Now, see, after you push it around a little bit, how much more can we layer it? I can feel it pushing a little, but it kind of feels like that even when it's dry, so, or there's something on it. Just randomly looking for places to put some dark shading in. Yeah, that's not one to take as much color this time. So I guess it is kind of like whatever the medium is kind of blooming up on it, and it's making it kind of hard to get any more color down. So I'm going to try to be careful, leave as much as I can on there. And I didn't try the white yet, so let's see what the white does for all that. Will the white stack or will it blend? Kind of stacking, kind of blending, kind of doing both. I mean, it is there. Let's see, it's not there. I don't know. I'm trying to get this color down here. And this is a limited color, by the way, palette. Limited set of colors. It's just 12 as per usual for me. It's not a lot of color. I don't usually like to use a lot of color anymore. I think it's plenty enough to figure out if I like it or not. This is sort of to a slightly green hue here. I'm trying to do it. Not green, really, but it is slightly tanned or tinted green here. So what I'm going to try to do is blend that out one last time. Whatever is here. See, it does not take much to push this around. Certainly better than it was. So that's me trying to do it on the vellum there. Part of it, you don't have to do the whole thing, obviously. You don't have to wet the whole thing. That's the whole fun of it, is that you can do as little or as much as you want, and you can also do this kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really take my sweet time trying to get that right, but that's okay. Why is this eye blue still? Hang on. I mean, it kind of looks like him. It takes some practice for me to get better at these. If I intend to do more, it's going to take me a minute. Like I said, I'm just looking to see if I can get the color to do what I want it to do. On this ATC, this Hobby Lobby one, it's a little more hard to blend, and I expect that it's not watercolor paper. Asking a lot of it. That's okay. It'll get over it. Very different approaches, but he looks better to me. I was able to leave a little bit of that whiteness in his beak right here. The cool thing about these is that you can do stuff like that. You can redarken it up and leave some of that shading in there, or some of that highlighting, I guess. Kind of creates a more realistic depth. What do I think? They're cool. They work. I'm terrible at them, but other than that, I think they're fine. What do you think? Do you guys like these? These are the Faber-Castell Aqua. These ones right here. Goldfaber Aqua. I'd like to try them again and give them a little bit more, get a little more practice with them. I feel like for me, watercolor is the most difficult thing to do because it doesn't do what I ask it to. It just kind of randomly does whatever it wants to, which is kind of the fun of it. And as such, they came out entirely different because, for one thing, I didn't exactly copy them from each other, but they're not too terribly off from each other necessarily. But, I mean, you know, I curved his little section here, and then here, it's more like it is in the picture. This one wants to flake a little bit more because it's not watercolor paper, but that's okay. It's fine. It's staying on there. Again, this one has more of a painterly look to me. This one's a little, like, it looks like it was intended to be painted with watercolor and then drawn with colored pencil, like a mixed media thing. This has more of a, I tried to push the watercolor pencil around. I don't know. So the approaches were different. I wanted to see what would happen, and obviously there's a result. I think if you want a more realistic, well, a more painterly approach, this is the way to do it. It's obviously use watercolor card first, and secondly, try to lay your main colors out, blend them out, and then highlight on top of that. But try to be careful with how much you use, because it seems like it's harder to stack color as the medium moves, or as the binder starts to stack. Kind of reminds me of pushing regular color pencil around with like baby oil or alcohol or something, and it just kind of starts to layer and it gets more difficult to push around. I mean, yes, I could definitely have spent more time on both of them and probably would have gotten better results, but the point of this wasn't to draw the most realistic or most fantastic bird you've ever seen. I wanted to see which approach would work best with these. Now that I know how to do that, next time I do it, I'm going to try doing this a few times over and see how they come out. If y'all made it this far, man, I really appreciate it, and do me a favor, let me know what you think. Do you guys like these? Not what I drew, but do you like the Faber-Castell, these Goldfabers, or, you know, these guys? Do you like these, or do you have like another brand that you prefer? Let me know what you guys think. point if you enjoy me sharing my failing with you and learning on the, kind of learning out loud on here. So just trying things as much as I can. I try things for the first time. And these pencils went really far. I mean, I used a lot of this blue, used a lot of this black, a little bit of the white, quite a bit of the yellow. But again, I didn't have to sharpen for these two small little cards. That's pretty cool. So they'll go pretty far, I feel like. Yeah, if you guys have anything that you suggest doing, I know some of you guys out there have watched you. You do a really, really good job of making watercolor look like it's easy. That's not me. That ain't me, man. This is not easy for me. Do me a favor. Leave me a like, comment, let me know what you think, and share if you don't mind. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.